Let's catch up with Tim Blair from the Daily Telegraph, joining us from Victoria's Wimmera. Good to talk to you again, mate. I know you and I and Mark Nicholson touched on this last week when the chair of the ABC, Kim Williams, had a go at Joe Rogan, who's, of course, world famous for his Joe Rogan Experience podcast, who's probably the most prolific podcaster in the world, or certainly the best known. And, well, here's a little snippet of what Kim Williams had to say.
I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society. I personally find it deeply repulsive.
It's extraordinary stuff, isn't it, Tim? Because your column on this was just so excellent, smacked it out of the park. He's just these strong opinions about something that he doesn't listen to.
Yeah, you're like, when he was asked a question by an ABC reporter what his opinion was of Joe Rogan, he said, well, I'm not really the guy to ask, don't know much about it. But I hate him, and he's terrible and evil. Like he called him repulsive and even worse, malevolent. You know, incredible things to say. But it was always also interesting to me that his description of, or his guess at what Joe Rogan did, it tallied very closely with what Four Corners has been doing for decades, preying on insecurities, undermining certainties, raising fears. Four Corners every week, mate. Come on. Yeah, improve your act.
As you said, if you want fear, then look at these ABC programs. It's the scary music and all the undertones. Look out, and Lord knows you check in on any of their reporting on climate change, and you just want to dig a bunker and hunker down. It is extraordinary because the thing about podcasts, what I find extraordinary about them, and I'm not a podcast listener. We talk about how everything in the social media age and with younger people is short attention span. A quick tweet, a quick hit that sitting down and watching television news is far too time consuming for them these days. Yet these podcasts go for hours, and you might have someone who's now being elected president, and the bloke who's been elected vice president, and countless others, experts in their field, in long conversation. This was an art form we thought that was lost.
Absolutely. We keep seeing this where at the same time we're concerned about new technology, erasing things and causing, serious issues. And your previous interview about AI concerns, very valid. But we keep seeing this thing where old qualities are revived or rejuvenated by new tech. And, 20, 30 years ago when blogging began, suddenly there were people using very long-form source material in their articles and links to source material of great length. And that simply wasn't possible with existing newsprint technology or even the sort of early versions of the internet. And now we've got, as you described, venues for multiple hours of discussion on things. And it's not, as Williams and others who misdescribe or misanalyze Joe Rogan, it's not all shock jockery. I mean, you can't sustain that for 3 hours. It's in-depth and it's probing and it's oftentimes very fascinating.
Well, I note that Kim Williams is a composer and I've not listened to his music. So therefore, I wouldn't offer an opinion on it. I'm not going to say his music is rubbish if I haven't listened to it. Just on this theme, though, it filters through to another aspect of the ABC. I want to talk about Paul Barry leaving Media Watch. And he mentioned last night that his last little farewell this week will be on social media, where he's been doing a weekly Media Bites segment, which is their version of doing, he thinks funny, lively, short pieces for social media. Here's what he said about it last night.
And we'll leave you with a taste of our final show, the best of Media Bites, all 413 episodes, which will be out on social media later this week. Bites will not be back next year, which is sad, because making them was a lot of fun.
Sorry, mate, you've got to go. It's the cuts, you see, nothing personal. Come on, off you go. Out.
Yeah, well, there you go. Is that really cracking it with the hip crowd?
I'd love to know the budget for that. That would be fascinating, wouldn't it? You might have to run a little FOI on that, because seriously, he was bad enough as a straight presenter, but at least he had some gravitas, But then when he when he tried to do the Hello Kids routine, you know, hello fellow children, as the great scene from 30 Rock many years ago summarised that sort of thing. Yeah. He didn't make it rock.